Want to bet? You can do it. Sports Interaction. It's Canada's sportsbook. Football continues. World Series right around the corner. And of course, we've been talking about it and we will continue talking about it. Hockey season has started. Bet pregame, live and play, or on one of the many prop bets made for Canadians by Canadians. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, easy to play, and easy to cash out.
High five.
High five. Woo! Yeah. High five with the prop on the table. Join now to see all that sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Ontario only. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. High five.
She scores!
Take a moment to look up at the ceiling. You're about to bust through it.
SDPN and PWHPA present Hockey like you've never heard it before. The Knoxy and Kax Show with Liz Knox and Karell Emard.
Let's get it. Go.
Oh, baby. Welcome back to the Knoxy and Kax Show on SDPN. Kax, it's been too long, although it also feels like it was just yesterday. How are you?
I missed you. I am great. I've been excited knowing that we were recording today. And people were asking about us this weekend, so I'm pumped. Pumped we're here.
They missed us. I know. It's been a long time coming, like I said. I'm very excited to be back. So stoked to be able to share with our listeners what a crazy summer it's been, I'm sure, for everybody. But with the PWHPA, everything from new sponsors, video games, roster change-ups, and so much more. So this is going to be a great season, and I guess we should just dive right into it. So I wanted to start off first by actually congratulating our United States Para Ice Hockey women's team for their gold medal. They beat Canada 5-1 in the final back in August in Green Bay at the Women's World Challenge. Now, this is a pretty cool event because this is like the first of its kind, a Women's World Championship for Para Ice Hockey. And I know one of the players on Canada, Claire Buchanan, and she was kind of explaining to me that this is something that they fund completely on their own. So we have a long way to go in hockey to be, truly inclusive.
It is also mind-blowing to learn from like different athletes and what they need to do in order to actually get to these tournaments. And I'm like always, sometimes I feel like hockey is not supported as much as it should, but it's so well supported compared to other areas. And I'm actually curious. I'd love to have maybe her on the show at some point, Knoxy. Maybe that's something we should do. But I don't know. Right. I think it would be. I think it'd be interesting to also educate our listeners on the various or different scenarios that women's sports have to go through in order to just be funded nicely and be able to compete. Technically, that's all they wanted to do is play some games at the highest probably championship level or tournament they could access or have access to. And I just we need the support, we need the sponsors in all angles, and if we can help them with that, I'd love to do this for her too.
Absolutely. And yeah, like you say, I mean, it's we know the story all too well, kind of growing up playing women's hockey, kind of fighting for your ice every time. So I agree with you. I think it'd be great to have Claire or anybody on. So reach out if you're on one of those teams or any team. And again, congratulations to not only Canada, US, but all those who participated. Super excited to see where or how they push the sport forward. So pumped for them. In other news, our good friend Sarah Nurse, of course, making history once more, named the athlete to the cover of EA Sports NHL 23, or as the kids call it, Chell. Kax, are you a video gamer? Like, are you a gamer?
I am. I think I tried to be a gamer during COVID, and I'm not that great at it. I had fun. I had fun playing against Jesse Eldridge once or twice, but I wouldn't consider myself a gamer. No, I did call it Chell for a bit, but then I was impressed watching actually Nursey playing on TV the other day, or like whatever show it was on. I was like, she didn't even know she was the one shooting the pucks at times. So.
Yeah, Nursey also doesn't strike me as a gamer, but super stoked for her. Tons of female players featured in that game.
Absolutely.
I think the first time ever which is like, is so exciting. A little part of me is like a little sad that it took us to 2022 to get there. But you know what? We keep pushing the sport forward, leaning on people like Sarah Nurse to lead the way. So congratulations to her. And, if we can get our hands on that game, maybe we can have a challenge of who's the worst gamer, because I haven't played since like NHL or like N64. So it would have been like NHL 2000. I don't know.
Yeah. I was going to ask. And the remote controls are so complex now. So, I mean, too many buttons is but actually we can change the mode. So maybe we could take advantage of that and then be better.
Put it in simple mode.
Yeah, for sure. But no, it's, I think it's amazing. And it's like, it's some added visibility for our game too. Yeah. It's, young, the gamers of this world, and then the teenagers and the kids that are playing Chell, will maybe come across Marie-Philippe Poulin and try to know who she is, and vice versa. So yeah, it took a while. I think they did it the right way in a sense. And I'm so proud and happy for Sarah Nurse to be on the, it's amazing. Like, you're on the cover of NHL 2023. I don't know. It's like, I hope we see more of it. And then, in the commercial, we saw that she could rollerblade a little bit like the Mighty Ducks.
That promo just had me in like my, like, the 90s, most nostalgia. Yeah. Like, cause I love the Mighty Ducks. I could probably recite all 3 movies. So that little nod was really, really cool.
Doesn't surprise me.
Speaking of other players featured in the game, the legend herself, Marie-Philippe Poulin, who we saw this weekend, we're going to talk about that later, was recently named to the class of 22 Boston University Hall of Fame. So want to give a big shout out to her. Obviously well-deserved. I'm pretty sure this is probably, I don't know how it works at BU. At Laurier, it was like you get 5 years after you graduate and then you're eligible. So I'm sure this is like the split second she was eligible. They're like, put that girl in the Hall of Fame.
As they should, right? I mean, she brought a lot to the program too, and she's always talking about BU and her experience there. So I don't know if she's gonna ever talk about it, but we're all so proud of her. And I think that Boston, we're probably some of her greatest years too, in terms of college career and hockey and friends and everything. So, it's fun and it's a nice little recognition for sure.
Yeah,
they should bring it up.
Memorialized forever. Sorry, Rupert also wanted to chime in on that one. And last up on our current events before we dive into the Montreal recap, I think this is women's hockey. We're a PWHPA showcase or podcast, but it would be silly of us not to talk about current events in women's hockey. So I wanted to ask you your feelings, your reactions to the PHF joining a team in Montreal. Now they have 2 teams in Canada, La Force. What was your reaction? We see a lot of our friends on that roster. How have the conversations been? Where are you at?
Yeah. Well, when it happened, there's rumors, right? Like, of it since I believe last year, something that a team was going to come to Montreal and how it was going to be done. We didn't know who was going to be part of it or who's going to be in charge. And when it got announced and I found out that Kevin Raphael was going to be, the president, I was like, this is going to be a good opportunity. This is going to be, how am I feeling about this? This is a guy, like, I love all of this. I love what he preached, and he wants to help women's hockey in general and everything. And I was just sitting here and I'm like, you know what? This is going to be a good opportunity for, anyone that thinks and that believes that this scenario of playing in the league currently right now is the best scenarios they can have for themselves, or they should be getting into. So we talked about it. There's a lot of my friends that switched over, a lot of my teammates from last year actually that joined La Force, and honestly I couldn't be more like happy for them. I think that they did the research that they needed to be doing. They analyzed probably all angles they could, and they decided to make a decision that better fit their kind of like scenarios and profile and situation they were in. I apologize. I have 2 dogs that are growling too here. So you might hear
we're having a battle of the dogs going back and forth through the mics. It's been like, a few months, so they're not used to us being on
exactly.
On screen here.
What is it? They're hearing you and they want to growl, but
like you say, I mean, I am happy for these players. We had a few girls out of Toronto, take contracts in Toronto and in Boston. And like you say, like, I'm happy for these players. They're making some money, continue to play hockey after college. And that's, I think, the goal for everybody. I think I have different political views than that league, sometimes portrays or believes in or stands by, but that's much too serious a conversation for me to have on the Knoxy and Kax show. But like you say, we're happy for them that, they found a home to play. And at the end of the day, we want women's hockey to continue.
For sure. And is it something we strongly believe in or whatnot? We're not in this league, and we chose it for our own reasons and values. And I think that at the end of the day, if we can vehicle the right message in terms of opportunity should be there for everyone. You graduate, there should be a league that's created that will, have the best of the best players in there. There should be a development league. We've talked about this many times, you and I, in the past, and organically, like this year and the future years up to come or that are coming, we'll see it even more. And I think that, what I want to happen is that, we've been saying it, but both leagues should be existing and the support should be there for both leagues as well too. And people shouldn't leave one or the other once things happen or are being created officially. You know what? We do need a development league and we do need a professional league, whichever it is. We have our own opinion on it and however that works, but we need to do it and work at some point together into growing that game truthfully where it needs to be, right?
There's just so much talent post-college and we're not even seeing, 50% of it, I would wager that actually stays on the ice and continues to play. So having more than one league is the best. That's the best of both worlds. For development and for playing amongst the best players in the world. So speaking of that, we just came off our Montreal showcase, our first showcase of the season at the Center at 2102 out in Montreal. And this year's it's really funny because, we'll talk about it a little bit later in the episode too, but the teams are no longer made by regions. So to give a quick summary, players train in their region with the players that are there. And then when we travel to showcases, they go to the same roster that, we've kind of drafted these 4 teams, but the players on their team are not all from the region that they train in. So you're basically in training hubs. You travel to the showcase, all the teams go, and then you build your chemistry with the best players in the world, which is so cool because this weekend we saw great line combinations, players that when Niter walked past me in the hallway and she was wearing a Sonnet jersey, I was like, it felt a little weird. I'm not going to lie, but it was awesome. So you see players kind of shifting gears a little bit and trying to find chemistry, with players that they're used to grinding in the corners with and taking penalties against and, having a little bit of that fun on ice rivalry.
Yeah, we were talking about this before, with random people and trying to explain how the teams were made and stuff. And these are actual lines or duo or pairs or even power play units that you wouldn't see anywhere else. Other than if a league is being created and we're going somewhere. These are players that hate playing each other when they play each other in rivalry series or have played each other in college or anything, right? So this weekend, you said it, we saw, the Kendall Coyne, Saunier, and Nurse as a line. I'm sorry, but that's pretty freaking fast. And I was playing as a D and I faced that that line more and more than one shift, and you just look at the teams, Scotiabank had I just kept looking and I'm oh my God, they have this person, they have that player. Holy, this one is there too. Oh my God, Mello. It was just fun to see every single team having just a bunch of Olympians, a bunch of pro players all together. And the lines were made. It wasn't just Olympians playing with Olympians. It was a good matchup and every team were able to beat every kind of team. I didn't play one team. We're playing them in Truro or whatever. But, I guess I lost in one in shootout. I will assume that as a team Arvies. But it was just very competitive and super fun, actually.
And it does speak to, I think, the level of hockey IQ and the level of skill that these players have to make that top 100 that were selected for the PWHPA because, yeah, like it may take them a shift or two. Like, you know, like anybody, you're building chemistry. But I found, you know, on Saturday to see the first two matchups, like it was like 2 or 3 shifts where it was like you could see players kind of waiting to see what the pace was going to be like, feel it out a little bit. And then it was like one, like, you know, kind of late bump after the whistle along the boards. And it was just like that switch came back on. And like I was going to say, it speaks to the hockey IQ and the talent of these players to just be able to jump into these showcases. Now, later on in the season, we have it planned so that they can have more pregame skates and, you know, kind of work on the systems because talent-wise, I mean, these are top of their class. But it is good to practice your systems here and there. I mean, I would say like 90 to 95% of our players can look at a whiteboard and understand it. But, you know, there's some hands-on learners. So I think it'll benefit them, you know, later on in the season to be practicing their systems together. For
sure. And you just get more used to each other and can, you know, prep a little bit better for games or opponents you're about to play. But we'll get to know each other in terms of like as teammates and in terms of like, hey, what to expect from another team too, right? Is it more of a speedy team? Is it more, I don't know. It just, you said it like it took a little while, but I feel like everyone was kind of like nervous, excited too. Like it was a good vibe on Saturday. Like people were just super pumped to be there and then, you know, try to get this on the ice as you know, in front of the fans and like giving, you know, the best product they could give. And you also like, I came from like the previous season, right? When we had no Olympians to like then having all the national players there too. So you don't know what to expect or what the level will be like and, you know, the pace of it, like you said. So I'm looking forward for the next few showcases actually. And then it'll just get better and better as the year goes on too. It's really fun.
I think that, so coming off the weekend, Sonnet ended up in first place right now with 2 games played, 1 win and 1 overtime loss. So they get 3 points for the win and 1 point for going into overtime. So they're at 4 points right now. This is like kind of a new system for us. It's 3 points for a win, 2 points for an OT win, 1 point for an OT loss, aka you got out of extra time. Yeah. And 0 is, you stunk. Take the L. So Sonnet finished the weekend with 4 points. Scotiabank with 3. So they had a win and a loss. Adidas with a win and a loss, also at 3. And then Team Harvey's, my girl Kax here. Tough weekend. You started out with a loss, and then you got the shootout win. So 2 points. But everyone came off the weekend with a win. Despite what the points say, each team had a win. So It was a really exciting couple of games to watch. And of course, your game on Sunday, I couldn't have asked for a better kind of end to the weekend because the games were back and forth. There was offense at both ends. Great goaltending. Like the goaltending here, and we're going to talk about players a little bit later in the episode, but the goaltending is like, I'm blown away. These young players that come out, and I can only imagine what it would be like to basically be facing like a North American all-star team. You just came out of college. I don't care who you are. Nobody is ready for that. Yeah. It was impressive. And like, honestly, like the amount, sorry about that. It was super impressive. And even like specifically the game on Sunday, like I didn't know who Browning was. I knew she went to Cornell, never played her last year once or twice. Like I just didn't like grasp who she was, what she was. And this is my mistake, but like we're always talking about the other goalies, right? And then the Nick and the Campbell and the Mashmeyer and like us, everyone, Desbiens, like, but she played so well on Sunday. And I mean, we did hit a few crossbars, I will say. You guys hit like 6 crossbars, okay? You didn't hit a few crossbars. But you know what? If you can't be...
She was there.
You got to be lucky sometimes. Like, luck helps. And I actually got to meet Lindsay Browning, who we're talking about here from Cornell.
Yeah, sorry.
I met her at the hotel on Saturday. just like a really sweet kid. Like I can say that because I'm old, but a really, really sweet kid. And I said, oh, like, where'd you go to school? Same thing. I mean, it's hard to keep track of all the players coming out of college, especially with the COVID year. So I was making small talk. Oh yeah. Like, where'd you go to school? Oh, Cornell. I was like, oh, cool. What'd you study? Oh, biomechanical engineering. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, what do you do now? Oh, I do cancer research at Harvard. Yeah. That's the second most competitive.
With a friend.
Yeah, literally. I was like, I sometimes talk about hockey. That's pretty cool, right?
No, it's so honestly, impressive though. Like, she's impressive. She's super humble, and I was so happy to see her have a great debut because, like I said, I mean, to come into that situation, I would be starstruck. I'm sure she was a little bit. Well, I would assume, and like even the rookies, like I don't even know if I should call them rookies or whatever, but the first year in our sense, like everyone was like super ready though. Like I know we're going to talk about other players and everything, but like I think some of our first year had like really good performances too over the weekend. Like no one was like out of place, out of like, should we have this player? No, everyone, the top 100 that was selected, and maybe we can jump on that too after, Knoxy, if you want to touch on that. But I was just happy. It was good pace. It was fun. It was crisp. It was like, for a first weekend, like you said it, like no one was like taking it for granted, or no one was like half ready. You know what I mean? Like it was like, I was back to like college, like seriousness. Like I'm playing Clarkson basically. Like it was like,
well, and back. Honestly, like that was a conscious, effort of the PWHPA this summer. And we are going to talk a little bit about what the summer looked like for the board and for the players. But, a lot of the feedback, just to go back a little bit, we are a players association. Every year, every day, we take feedback from the players. What do you need? Right. So, and the last season, big takeaway was like the girls wanted to be on the ice more. They wanted to have off ice programs provided to them for strength conditioning. They wanted to have that level of compete back in the game. And I think that, not that it was lacking in previous years, but when we started this tour, we didn't really know how this was all going to pan out. And I think that we're more aware of our identity now as a players association, where we're more willing to hold ourselves accountable. And that was kind of, I think, the big message of the summer was, let's get the things in place so that these girls can take to the ice and put on a show. And like you said, they did. They showed up ready. The 100 players, just to touch quickly, because, we're talking about it, there was a selection process. So there was about 150 players that registered for the PWHPA this year. And, any player that showed interest, there was a list of criteria that you had to have played, college hockey somewhere. And, obviously pro experience somewhere would be beneficial. And then if you'd played in the PA before, different variables like that. And so basically a selection committee of voices outside the PA were put together who understand the college game, understand the pro game, understand the national teams. And they basically ranked the players based on, their experience of watching these players play. So the top 80 were identified, and then the last 20 spots were based on the physical tryouts that non-national team players attended while the two national teams were at their training camp back in August. The timing of everything was like really tight. Obviously, ideally, we would have liked to have done it sooner, but there was so much happening with the World Championship for our national team players. And, I think, like you said, it was a very difficult decision, and it was very difficult for, the players that didn't make it. But, the top 100 players that we have here represent, the best PA members that signed up. And it's exciting hockey, and people who are committed to bettering themselves and committed to our mission, right? Committed to this idea that we're going to leave the game better than we found it, and keep building with our investor group, with the team that we've built around us. So it's fun. Yeah. It's been exciting.
It's like the whole process. Like, I mean, like you said, we've listened to the feedback, the players and everything. And then we got to this level. And then it became clear too, like in previous years, like it was, with the Montreal team, Montreal hub, like Toronto hub. And I just want to touch on that because like technically, within the 100 players or even the 150 or however it is, like certain areas had an advantage just by being a metropolitan like city and like having the resources there and having there. So Montreal had a good pool of players, like Toronto, same thing, Calgary here and there. So this year with like the whole concept, even listening from the feedback was more so like on, hey, like we understand like we're from certain areas, but where sometimes games, like we can make them probably a bit better or give an advantage to, not an advantage, but a fair tryout to a player that maybe is from a region that has a lot of players but could be playing anywhere else. So how can we make it as like, fair as possible so that these 100 players can play on the 4 teams and go and compete against each other, right? So it made very little sense to have, let's say, 30 players in Montreal and only picking 20 of them because of where they were from. So those were contexts or like concepts that we talked over and over and over and over again. And this is where we call it the PLL style of like mix matching everyone kind of like from all regions and creating these teams. And that's why we have now the 4 teams that will stick together for the entire season, but that are not from the same areas. And
exactly.
We are considering these athletes being, pro level enough to do everything they possibly can to train, to be ready for these events. And then they can show up and provide the best product on the ice when it comes to showing, what we can do in front of our fans and stuff. So it's exciting because again, I get to play with players that I never played before. I play with Rich, I would have never played with Chris if it wasn't for like mixing and matching those players as well too. So it's fun for the players, and I think it's a super cool idea for the fans as well too.
And like you said, the PLL model, so that's the Professional Lacrosse League. So this was a model that we adopted from them kind of initially, that we were going to do these tours, but now even more so where a lot of their athletes, work full-time jobs. Like they are teachers or they work in corporate or whatever it may be, and they train on their own. And then for their games, they travel, they play for their, the team that they represent, and then they go back home. So there is a sense of accountability. This is, unique to us this year, but not a unique concept, and something that's they've been doing to try to get the game to more eyes. And it's worked for them. So speaking of that, I guess we should kind of talk about what happened this whole summer. I mean, I feel like the last time we had a pod, it was like right at the cusp of us signing this letter of intent with this. It's so exciting, and yet we can only say so much. So the PWHPA has signed a letter of intent exclusively with an investor group. This happened back in the spring. All the players are together physically signing. Anybody that physically wasn't there was able to send in a virtual signing that basically said, we're going to give this investor group the time to look over what we've built, the model that we've designed. Of course, with our team of people, this is, although we are a players association, we have an incredible team behind us in Deloitte. We've got law teams that support us north and south of the border to make sure that we are doing this, properly protected. So we basically have signed this letter of exclusivity to have this investor group look over our proposal, our ideas. And, we're super excited because I feel like that is like just a huge step in the vision that we created, 4 seasons ago now. I can't believe it's been 4 years. I feel like COVID is like a little bit of a time warp, like kind of like fast forwarded a couple of years in there, but it's a super exciting time in the PA.
It is, it's so hard because we want to give more detail. We want to jump into more and more and what it means and where we're going and everything. And we will at some point, Knoxy, but it is an exciting time. It is something that we are looking forward to talk even more and give more details and stuff, and who was behind it and who has helped us, take us to where we're at now and what we'll be able to provide to the players this year, even, and in the future. So, bear with us.
Stay tuned.
I feel bear with us as per usual. What we say,
as always. It is funny though, because for somebody like me who came from the CWHL, I mean, the most frustrating thing as a player in that league was not knowing.
Yeah. Now
there's certain things that players, can't be privy to or aren't privy to, and I can accept that, but not knowing, the basic financial structure of our league as somebody who is the product in a league, it was a super frustrating thing. It was why I joined the CWHL Players Association, because I got tired of asking questions to nobody, right? So this is exciting for us because although we are, so pumped and really, optimistic about what the future holds for the PWHPA, we've also worked so freaking hard to get to this point, and we want it done right. Seriously. So we appreciate everyone's support. We appreciate your patience. It's going to be a great year. And speaking of that, our team that we built out, not only behind us, but now we've got a bunch of new sponsorships that have come on board. I want to start off with CCM. Tell me about your gear. Tell me about your experience with CCM so far.
Listen, nothing wrong with Bauer at all. I've always been a Bauer person and everything, but I will say that everything that CCM has done so far, and I'm here in Montreal and the sales rep here is amazing, Sean, and they have come up and kind of like stepped up the game for equipment on the women's side, to be completely honest, and being on the board and seeing what they were trying to like push for and everything. And it was a battle. Let's be honest, like counter offers from both sides and everything. And CCM came on top for the players. And for the first time, we're having finally skates, if I can say this. Skates finally, and it is, I'm being totally honest, like this is something that we used to pay for, and we used to have to like get someone to help us out or get a cust or something. Anyways, it's now part of the deal. They're obviously everything that's showing from helmets to pens. So if I have to say something, it was very easy to use it. It was all pro level equipment. It's like easy to get used to everything in practice and stuff. And then, on top of it, this is the first time that our goalies are getting also some love. So Knoxy,
they're getting so much love. I can't wait.
Are you sad you're retired, I guess? Or should we expect some kind of comeback? But yes.
I actually asked Chelsea, because on the occasional time, I go out with the Toronto girls. I'm insured. Don't worry. I filled out my OWHA insurance. I go out with the Toronto girls and I pretend that I'm still, a pro athlete. So I was like, well, like if I'm there anyways, I may as well get the free gear. No, no, I'm so stoked. Trying. You gotta try. Girls gotta try, right?
Yeah, but that's true.
I saw Browning's markup sheet of the pads she's getting. I cannot say anything, but they are so dope.
You guys have such a thing for like designs of your pads and your helmets.
It gets me going.
I love it. But they're getting legit. So for everyone that's listening, obviously pads and blockers, everything, but they get to design it too with the colors of their team, and masks as well too. So
sticks. Also, I got a shout out
as well too.
We did shout out Bauer. I got my Bauer sticks back here from Jen Lacasse. She's always good for it. Every year she hands me a couple sticks so I can get through my beer league hockey. So I wanted to thank her again, because she's just people support. This started back in the CW days when she was like, oh, poor Knoxy, she's broken. She has a broken stick, and she gave me one of hers. And now
that's cute.
Look at that.
It's
tradition carries on.
But I do want to say before we go, props to CCM. I want to thank Bauer for being there since the beginning as well too. It just became, this year was like the best thing we could possibly get for our players, and we needed to upgrade and step up ourselves too, and kind of think a little bit outside of maybe what we've been used to as well too. Yep. So that's
what I think
constructive.
What CCM is doing is going to elevate everything, because I've had the same experience, the couple times I've been out in Toronto. Our sales rep is there, Tim. He comes once a week, checks in with all the girls. Do you like your stick? Do you like your skates? Can I customize anything for you? What don't you like about this? They're not only trying to make sure that our players are comfortable, but they're trying to make sure that their products are comfortable for female athletes. Yeah. And the amount of care that they put in is just like, they're moving the bar. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. Love Bauer. I know that they are, this is sports. This is business. It's competition. Yeah. So I can't wait to see what they come out with next. We love CCM. We appreciate you guys so much. Did you receive yet your Gatorade package?
I sure did. I don't have the full package, but I'm in love with this water bottle right now. I don't know if you tried it.
Haven't tried it yet. I just got mine today.
Okay, I loved it. And the amount of like things that I was pulling out of this like backpack was genius. So Gatorade, new sponsors as well too, right? And Gatorade has stepped up big this year in supporting women's sports more than ever. And I'm so happy that they join us and that they, chime along with every single other sponsors that we have. But yeah, like Gatorade, like electrolytes too that I receive and everything. I'm just excited for all of it. Yeah, I'm pumped.
It like feels like a plug, but honestly, like these are the things that make us so happy. Is like we got a pack. Like I got a package of Gatorades because I'm part of the PA, but little do they know that is gonna like save my ass one day when I'm super hungover. So like. Not the advertising they wanted, I'm sure, but no, honestly, like this is it though. This is pro hockey. Like we appreciate the products. We appreciate the work they're doing. There's some really cool stuff that Gatorade did here in Toronto that I don't think I'm allowed to say. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But you will see content on it soon. Speaking of content, this weekend I got to hang out with Natalie Alport, who is a former professional snowboarder, CrossFitter. She does a ton of work for mental health. She creates a whole bunch of social content. And she, funny enough, actually reached out and was like, hey, I'm going to come to the PA event in Montreal. Like, do you want me to capture any content? And I was just like, yeah, that's awesome. You can do that way better than me. So I wanted to shout her out. I saw on her TikTok, she posted, and I knew that she was kind of like asking athletes like, oh, what's your favorite workout? She told me in the hallway, like, I really want to meet Hillary Knight because she loves the assault bike, which is completely like sociopathic. Nobody likes the assault bike, but she does. And so Nat asked Hill, what was your favorite assault bike workout? Hill explained it to her.
10-20.
And then you got to check out Nat's TikTok. I think I retweeted it on Twitter also, but this is just such a cool crossover of sports because, it's something that we really miss as athletes. We grew up playing college hockey. You go to the women's lacrosse game, you go to men's soccer, you go to men's hockey, you go to football, you go to all these sports. You have this little community of athletes. And then after college, like you just get hockey. You just get female hockey players, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I love you guys.
It's true. It's true. It is like, I was going to say, it is so true. And it's like, you don't have this campus feel where you can just walk to a field and then catch a game of something, or, it's not like, I mean, to be completely honest, I could have maybe seen like CrossFit competition here in Montreal because of menu and a couple of things like that. But like, I don't even know if we went to a soccer game last year, first time ever since COVID too and everything. But I absolutely love when athletes support athletes. And the fact that she came and I reached out to the PA and did that for us and everything, like, I think it's amazing. And at the end of the day, she could have just showed up and watched the games, and no, she wanted to help out and, do something more and maybe even use her platform to promote our game too, which is awesome as well too. So her reach is different. Everyone's reaches are different. So the visibility right there was like awesome. And the assault bite is a thing that Manu absolutely loves. And I got around it after 4 years of working out with Emmanuel Blais in Le Vestiaire. And now if you want a trick ever, Knoxy, 10 calories. Okay, 10 calories is actually like about like 28 to 29 pushes. So if you count in my head, I'm counting my pushes in my arm with the one arm, and it gets me through the calories because I know it's about like 3 more pushes in my head and whatnot. But you're still dying, but you're mentally focusing on something different and you can actually get it done.
I will try that. I do
10
find
calories,
like,
just try to count how many pushes it takes you with the one arm.
What if I have little T-Rex arms? Is that going to change?
It could change, but I'm not that tall or anything. I think we have an advantage being like shorter and stacky.
Compact.
Yeah, and then the long arms and tall. People out there. So I will say, I think, maybe they have a bigger push. I don't know. We'll have
Speaking of compact, we were saying this in our pre-show, but like Team Harvey's is like extremely tall.
Yes, and I don't know how I made that roster. If the criteria was to be above 5'9" or 10 or even, I don't even know, but I have Lee Steckline on my team. I've known Lee for a bit and love the girl and everything. I love her on my team. I hated playing or Canada, seeing her playing against Canada and cheering it. You always think that you passed a girl or that you got her and then she just turned and has the longest
Stretch
reach
Armstrong
ever. Yeah. But then that's not the only one, right? We got Claire DeGeorge is really tall. We got like Richards is tall, Shaver, Sophie. Like I was sitting there, even Raj is tall. Like I'm trying to go around the locker room right now. Even our goalies, Anna's not short. Like, I mean, I felt like I was amongst the mini hockey players, it's there's a few of us though. The fun size, I guess. Yeah, I'll take it that way. Yeah.
And I guess we should talk about the players, at some point. I'm just kind of like looking through what else we had down here. Oh, obviously 10 NHL partners this year. Now, this isn't going to be a tease by any means, but like Arizona, Philadelphia, Calgary, Pittsburgh, Chicago, St. Louis, New York, Toronto, Ottawa, Washington. And front half of the tour seems to be pretty Canada heavy. Back half, maybe we'll end up in the States. I don't know.
Maybe it'll be warmer where we go. I don't know.
I sure hope so. I mean, I'll need a tan by January. So, but we love our NHL partners and, the support of the NHLPA as well. So wanted to shout them out. Like you said before, right? This is athletes supporting athletes. I think that's the takeaway that we have here. So let's look at the rosters. Okay. Now I have them. They're kind of like small for some reason on my screen, but I picked out a few. So we'll go as they appear here. So I want to start with Team Adidas. You mentioned it earlier. Yeah. There was Coyne, Nurse, and Saulnier on a line this weekend. Okay,
that's one line. But then you also have Jocelyn, The Rock, and Fast on the and Dunn, and like name them. I'm sorry, but that's a team that's like that can generate offense from everywhere. And Mickelson's on that team too. It just felt like every shift you're like, oh, maybe I'll have a break.
There is no
and
break.
It's good. This is what I'm saying about like how good the games are going to be this year. There's no break. There's not that we had breaks before. That's like a poor way for me to describe the scenario and how the games were and everything. But I'm just saying, like, it is quality hockey and it's fun.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of firepower, like first line to fourth line. Like you're right. Like I don't think it's offensive to say like there's no line that's on the ice that you're like, oh, okay, maybe I can, skate this puck end to end. Like, no, everyone's dialed in. And Adidas has kind of a unique situation on the back end. Aaron Frankel, Shea Tiley, Scobie, and then who's their third goal? Oh, Matty Rooney. So they've got 4 goalies, but my understanding is that I think it's Tiley and Scobie might be kind of like juggling some other things in their life. So they kind of like are splitting like a part-time role. So I think the intention is if we can get them in a showcase and the timing works out that they'll be there. They're obviously training on their own, getting their own ice time. But I think that's the explanation for the 4 goalies. That was what I heard over the weekend. Now, don't quote me. This is not like this is not research news.
No, I think you're right.
That was just right. That's kind of what I grasped. Obviously, Aaron Frankel, a big name coming out of NCAA. Heard over the weekend, some people were like, oh, maybe she was hyped up too much. I don't buy it. I think, like I said earlier, to come into a weekend like that against the star power that she saw, I have no doubt in my mind the kid's going to make a name for herself. So I'm really excited to see her get back between the pipes.
And it's a different play in game when you straight out of college to this level. And people sometimes don't think about it too much, but I do think there's a year and a gap year type of thing to adjust.
I think genuinely, even like when I was that age, you think that you are at your best when you've just finished college, but you're not. Like it's really hard to describe, but you're just not. Like you're only 22. I mean, I think scientifically, I could probably say this having done zero research, but scientifically, like we're hitting our stride around 25 on average, female athletes.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to find something that supports that.
It does. I think it's there. And yeah, we're even talking about like you get out of college, you're in the best shape where you think you are, but then you can get into an even better shape and more balance and everything too.
Yes.
College years are fun as well too.
The balance piece is a big one. Okay. So moving on, Team Harveys. We were just talking about you guys. Excuse me. Quite the tall roster. So I was drinking my muscle milk before this, and the protein's getting the best of me here.
But Team Harveys, Team Harveys is good though as well too. Like we're fourth right now. Yes, I get it. But we do have like really good mix of players again too. And then from the D to forwards, it was fun to be on that team as well too. And I'm sure everyone else will do it and say the same thing. But yeah, it's anyone playing with Pooh is going to look really good too. But we saw Jessie Eldridge and Emily Clark playing with this. That's a great line too. And we might see different lineup or however that works, but everyone from that line on, and then from Lee's, D partners, Savannah Harmon, I was playing with her, thank God for her, on D, and then Raj and Richards as well too. Like everyone was doing what they needed to be doing and performing to its best. So, I don't know what you saw, but
really fun lineup to watch. Obviously, I was happy to see you and Rich play together. I felt a lot safer for both of you. Yeah, no penalty. Isn't that funny how that happens? You guys play on the same team and all of a sudden both stay out of the box.
We got after one person, we said, hey, get away from the goalie at some point. And both of us had the same reaction on the bench and told her to calm down. I was like,
you guys are like Bash Brothers now.
Pretty much, yeah. We'll see how that goes.
That's amazing. Yeah. And then we said her name earlier, but Claire DeGeorge potting a couple in the second game, which is you love to see for, a so-called rookie coming into the PWHPA. Moving on to Scotiabank, Megan Keller opened the scoring of the Secret Dream Gap Tour of our fourth season. Obviously, an incredible defenseman, plays on the U.S. national team. Awesome girl too, like great attitude. Love to see her around the rink, always smiling. So again, defense, like no shortage of defense here. Gosling, Lequette, Keller. Yeah, it's
Shelton, like name Shelton. Them. Like it just keeps on going. And then forward wise, like you got the Carpenter, the Panic, the Daoud, like it's so many. I love it. Like it's Bach. Is O'Neill in this one or Sonnet is O'Neill? Yeah. I just I feel like the depth of all the teams are really strong. And again, it's hard to play against any D that I love it. I can't say enough of it. It's just, you see great breakouts. You see offense, everyone, your Keller joins in the play, and sure enough, it's, yes, it was a shot from the point when she scored, but we're going to see that. We're going to see a lot of D scoring as well too, I think.
Yeah. And you mentioned her name, Alex Carpenter, faced her shot a couple times now. Would rather let a goal in. She has probably the hardest shot I've ever faced. The skill off this girl, I can't imagine why they would ever leave her off a world championship team or a Four Nations team or any U.S. national team. Sorry, I'm getting my digs at USA Hockey, but Carpenter is hands down one of the most talented players I've ever seen on the ice. So excited to see what
Very
she does
smart.
with some new chemistry around her as well. And then last but certainly not least, Sonnet. My big one here is goaltending. Obviously, Erica Howe is, fan favorite of mine. Lindsay Browning, who I've spent the whole episode talking about, and then Nicole Hensley, who has solidified herself as, a starting goalie with the U.S. national team. So 3 goaltenders that can all win you a game, and 3 incredible people, which in the position of goaltending is like really a funny dynamic. I was very fortunate to always have, for the most part anyways, goalie partners that I got along with. We support, you push each other. I think that trio is something to be very afraid of, the back end of Sonnet there. So what did you see up front? Oh, what is happening? Why are you laughing?
No, the dogs got pulled out, and then anyways, but yes, I saw the exact same. We didn't actually talk about goaltenders for any other teams, but like across the board, I think we have you talk about at Adidas, and then I have like Desbiens, Lacasse, and oh God, it's a French name too. Why can I think of Boissonneau? Yeah, on my team, and then Maschmeyer and
Campbell.
Yeah, and Campbell on the Sonnet team. Like, I mean, we're facing goalies that they're not fun to face. Let's be honest with you. As a forward, and it's challenging. And then Sonnet, just to wrap it up here, like we were talking about rookies this weekend, and I said everyone showed up and everyone was there and ready. Vasco got her first goal, right? Coming straight out of Merciers, and she's been on the national team program for a bit and stuff. And, it's those kind of players that are the ones that do the right things, like works hard, gets the effort, and does is in the right spot at the right time. And was playing with, I believe, night one game and then maybe a different line mates on the second game. But she was the girl getting the pucks and then actually getting it to the net, and got 2 great opportunities and put it in. And, I don't know how it feels, but you get into the locker room and you play with players that maybe you never faced, or you face at Worlds but never really met. There's a little bit of a moment of like, okay, I'm her line mate now. I got to step up. And that's how, it was for maybe a few more players this weekend. And, you get the Knight and a Brent that were playing on the Sonnet team. And then, a few more bunts was on that team as well too. And Rebecca Leslie, I believe, and a bunch of, it's just so fun to watch these like duo or like trio or lines, like getting kind of like this chemistry going, and feeling like, okay, what roles are these big players usually in? And sometimes they, are put into a different scenario where they need to carry the puck a bit more, or where they need to not just be a shooter, they got to go get that puck and stuff like that. So it was fun to see. It was like also good to play against them, and we got our win or whatever, but still like it was very fair games all weekend long again, and
that's like what we're striving for, right? Yeah. We're striving for that parity across the board. And I know I heard on my Instagram or my Facebook, a couple of our friends in Montreal, a couple of the fans were, a little distraught to see some staple names from Montreal going to other teams. But this is all part of the process in professionalizing hockey. And we really wanted to make this season kind of, emulate what you might see in a potential pro league where, players aren't restricted by their geography, and you're seeing line combinations and player combinations that we've never seen before. That's a recipe for success in our mind. So like we said, it's going to be an exciting season. For all of our tour dates and tickets, you can catch them on PWHPA.com. Really, really exciting announcement. Kax, you want to tell us about CBC Sports?
We have set up, all our games will be streamed globally on cbcsports.ca. So this is huge. This is just like, not like last year we were kind of like, oh, is it going to be streamed? Is it going to be broadcast? No. cbcsports.ca. You get all our games. And then, I don't know, you can rewatch them probably on that Gem app as well too, and get access to our games too via I believe our YouTube page if we still have it. But this is awesome, and thank you to CBC for doing that. and stepping up
super
again.
Super stoked to get it out to you guys. No matter where you're listening in from, we want to thank you again for joining us on the Knoxy and Kax show. This is season 2. Episode 1. We're a little rusty, but we got through it, and also wanted to drop our next 2 tour stops, which we'll be, promoting week after week. But first up, Truro, Nova Scotia. The girls are pumped to go back to Nova Scotia. They had a fantastic time last year. I'm excited. I'll be there. I'll be doing some color commentary on the game. So you'll hear this voice again November 4th and 6th. It's in like 2 weeks. The season has started.
Get ready. We're back to back now. And then our second tour already, or stop, I guess, in the tour, our third, will be in Pittsburgh, November 26th and 27th. There should be a clinic on the 25th. So stay tuned on everything. But I won't be in Truro, but I'll be in Pittsburgh, hopefully. And it's going to be amazing, guys. It's I'm actually sad I'm missing the lobster, to be completely honest. And
you know what?
Hopefully.
Maybe if you're nice to me, I'll bring you some home, Kax.
I'd love that. That'd be fantastic.
All right, from the Knoxy and Kax show, I'm Liz Knox. This is Karell Mard. We want to thank you guys again, and we're so excited for season 2. Tune in next week. Ciao.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
The Knoxy and Kax show on SDPN, produced in partnership with the PWHPA. Follow Knoxy and Kax on Twitter at 27Knoxy and at Karell Mard. The views expressed are those of the individuals and are not necessarily those of the PWHPA. Check out sdpn.ca for more Knoxy and Kax and the rest of the SDPN crew.
She scores!